Hey, welcome back everyone. Glad you're here on the channel with me. It's good to see you. Today I thought I would talk about what's going on and how I'm making decisions about my tenure application. You may not know that I was previously tenured at a different university and I was promoted to associate professor. About the time I would have been applying for full professor, I decided to move to a new position. Now that I've been here for a couple of years, so I have an original contract that says in my third year I apply for reappointment, and then after that I can apply for tenure. So that's kind of where I am at this point in the stage. My original offer letter for the position actually says that I can apply for tenure at any time from when I got here until the final deadline. But I thought for sure I would take a few years to meet people and get comfortable and get the lay of the land, teach a variety of classes to show my skill and what I can do here. I also looked at the tenure policy documents, at every single thing that was required. And of course, the first and second year, I just felt like I wasn't ready to go up for tenure here. And I thought maybe for my year 3, I might be ready. So I created a spreadsheet essentially with all of the requirements. I thought today I would talk about my application and deciding if I'm going to apply early in year 3 or wait a little longer to apply for tenure. If you watch all the way to the end, you'll see what decision I finally made about what I'm going to do. But I thought first I would just talk to you about our processes here. I mean, every single institution and department, even every department is different. Really, the first thing I do is look carefully at my department requirements for teaching, scholarship, and service. And at this university, teaching, scholarship, and service, that's kind of the order. Services last, and that's pretty typical across institutions. And I'm currently at an R1 institution, so research is really primary here. But in my specific department, teaching seems to be weighted a little heavier than scholarship. For scholarship, I'm required to have 4 peer-reviewed articles or 1 published book, plus presentations at conferences, and I have to have 5 of those. And then they have an external review process. So the committee and external reviewers must indicate the quality of my work. For teaching, I have to have positive evaluations from both my peers and student evaluations. And I have to have experience teaching a range of courses, from beginning courses and then the intermediate and advanced courses. And the final requirements for tenure here relate to service. I have to serve on at least 1 committee outside of my department, and then of course committees and service work inside of my department. So I am able to bring some of my prior work here to this institution with me. So I've been kind of counting up what I have related to those requirements. And some things I thought were going pretty well. And I recently submitted an article, so I decided to sit down with my department head to talk about the requirements in those 3 areas. And I think my scholarship will be on track really soon. My teaching, I feel like, is good. I've taught a range of courses, and my evaluations have been positive from both students and from my peers. And for service, I'm involved at department, college, and 1 university level activity. So I feel like I've met those requirements. And remember, each department has their own view of, how they rate and value different types of publications and so forth. When I met with my department head, I learned a few things. So for example, at my previous university, a book review that was published in a scholarly journal was considered to be good for the field, and it counted as scholarship. What I found out here is that a book review is considered service, and it does not count at all towards my tenure application. So that means that publication that I have listed will not count as one of the 4 that's required. So I believe I'll need one more before I apply for tenure. One more published article before I apply for tenure. And I currently teach in an ASL program with an interpretation option. So I research teaching ASL interpreting, and I research about the faculty experience. So my chair and I discussed that it's really important that I clearly explain how my research work relates to the work that I do here in this department. So I feel like having more conversations with my other faculty peers might be a good idea before I jump into applying for tenure here, to make sure they understand the kind of work that I do. Also, at my previous institution, if you were working on research grants, that was considered part of your scholarly activity. In my current department, grants do not count anything towards tenure. So it does count for the annual evaluation, for merit raises and so forth. So it is important in terms of scholarly output in that way, but it does not count toward anything at all for getting tenure. It's like, okay, yeah, you got a grant, but you must have the 4 articles or a book, not you can have received the grant in lieu of one of the other publications. Essentially, grants are worthless for tenure in this specific department. When I met with my department head, we had those conversations. And my department head also talked about another situation. And just remember, every single department is different and your employment context is different. So my situation may not apply to yours. But at this institution, when you do your 3rd year review or 3rd year reappointment, once you've passed that, you receive a pay increase. I think it's around $3,000 or something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it's around that. It's a fairly decent increase. And then when you apply for tenure and you are approved, you receive another pay increase. And I asked my department head, if I don't do my 3rd year reappointment and I just apply for tenure, will I receive the reappointment bump and the tenure bump, or just tenure bump? And my department head is fairly certain they would only give me the tenure bump, not the reappointment bump in addition, which means I wouldn't be maximizing my salary over my time here. So if I just went ahead and went for tenure, I would be missing out on one pay raise that might be possible. Of course, we get the cost of living increases every few years or so. It depends. But there's so few opportunities for regular increases for faculty beyond just those regular promotions from assistant professor to associate, and then, of course, to full professor. Here at my current institution, we also have a regents professor, so there are actually that extra level of promotion and pay bump that you can receive, but I would be missing out on one if I didn't apply for reappointment. That means that in the fall, I am going to be applying for reappointment, and that is a review by the committee that'll give the thumbs up or thumb down. My department head has indicated that everything looks on track for that to pass with no problems. The first 2 years here, my annual evaluations are just with my department head. He does my evaluation report and everything. But on the 3rd year, it's given to the departmental committee, and then that, of course, goes to the chair and then the dean's office and so forth up the line. So I've decided to go ahead with regular reappointment in my 3rd year, which is the typical process. And then I will take the feedback and information that the committee gives me and decide when to apply for tenure. I can technically apply for tenure at any time. So I could do reappointment in my 3rd year and then apply for tenure in my 4th year. But I'm going to kind of see and make sure how everything goes and those articles that I'm submitting actually get published on time and in a reasonable time frame. So for now, I'm holding off on the tenure application, and I'm going to go ahead and apply for reappointment in the fall. So I'd love to hear if you would have made a different decision or what the requirements are at your institution. And I know in some places you're not even allowed to apply for tenure early, and other places are a little more flexible with that. Anyway, so in the fall, I'm going to apply for reappointment, and then I'll take it from there to decide when to apply for tenure. And in this institution, my department head is supposed to help me with all the paperwork and making sure I get everything together just as needed. And of course, I'll share it with someone else in my department to get them to look over it for me to make sure I'm on track. And I will share it with some outside people to have them give me some feedback as well to make sure that I'm on track and explaining myself well. So I just wanted to take the chance to make this quick video for you. I didn't want to miss the Tuesday, and I just thought it might be nice to share that reappointment and tenure decision-making process. If you'd like to see my chart that I made, or if you'd like me to help you make your own spreadsheet chart to make sure you're on track for your tenure and promotion, just let me know. So thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you'd like more information and support from me, check the link down in the description below. You can join my weekly newsletter, and I send out information, support, ideas, helpful tips, and so forth. So I'd love to see you there. Keep exploring to find what works for you.